The video that you've been waiting for, a behind the scenes classroom tour of how I set up Daily 5 in my 5th grade classroom. Hi, my name's Molly, and I'm a 5th grade teacher who helps teachers just like you streamline your literacy block so you can spend more time teaching and less time prepping. And I took some footage from my classroom so we can talk about how to organize and what I personally do in my 11th year of teaching. So I hope this will help you set up your classroom for Daily 5, give you some ideas of what to do, but also let you know that you don't have to have a bunch of activities and feel overwhelmed by the organization and the management piece that comes along with them. I've really honed in on things that work well for me over the years, and I've used Daily 5 every single year. So let me know in the comments below if you have better systems for things. I'm always looking to change things up, and I love hearing what you do in your own classroom. So I first want to talk about organization. A question I get a lot on TikTok and Instagram is, how do I keep all of the Daily 5 materials organized? So you will see that I have cubbies that I purchased for my classroom with book tubs. I've had those book tubs the entire time I've taught, and the kids have a number assigned to them because I do not like relabeling their name on everything every single year. So the number just helps me with that. They have inside of their book tub a journal for Daily 5. That's where they do their writing, so it's their writing journal. They have a folder for word work, and they have all of their curriculum materials that come along with what I use in the classroom to teach that my district has. So they have to have that all together. And the reason that goes together for Daily 5 is because most of their independent tasks come from the curriculum. It's the whole group lesson that we do in the beginning, and then they go to do that on their own. And so I like to have it all in one place. They always have like pencils and the supplies that they're going to need in that book tub. So when they go to grab it on their next Daily 5 rotation, it's by them and they're not getting up out of their seat. Because part of my Daily 5 expectations is we pick one spot and we stick with it. We're not up and down, moving around. 5th graders are really great at this. When I taught kindergarten and 1st grade, that took a little bit more time to build the stamina. So cubbies are completely essential for me. I love having that, but you might have a different management tool for their items. You could have a binder. I've thought about doing that before. I choose folders just to keep everything separate because that's the school supplies that we ask them to bring. Another thing that I had this past year that I really liked was having a drawer for each kid. It's just a 3-tiered cart, and each kid they did make their own name tag for it because I could rip it off for the next year. And inside of that, they had all of their extra supplies. We didn't have a locker or any place for them to put extra stuff, and I don't like a bunch of clutter around. And so it was a great way for them to go access their extra pencils or their markers whenever they needed them, and they didn't have to involve me in that process. At the beginning of the year, we just sorted it, put it away, made their name tag label, and we could move on from there. A lot of times Daily 5 stuff wouldn't end up in those cubbies because it was the extra supplies, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of perspective on how to store things and what we did with them. As far as the book tubs go, they would also keep inside of the book tub their Daily 5 book from book club. So whatever book I assigned them, that needed to stay in there, as well as their own read to self books. We talk a lot about that when we're learning how to book shop. How many books should you have in your book tub? By 5th grade, we have lots of chapter books, so it shouldn't be overwhelming to where when I pull out your book tub, 5 or 6 books come out. Really, I want them to have one personal book that they're reading for Read to Self, as well as the book club book that we are doing together. And so they're not toggling back and forth all the time. You might have kids that want to have more books than that, but if you're checking in with them, you'll realize a lot of them are not finishing the books, and they just get bored with them quickly instead of giving the book the fair chance. So we really talk about how far you need to get inside of a chapter book before you can decide that you don't like it anymore. Classroom library is a big one, and I've organized this many different ways since I've been a teacher. I started out in a K-1 classroom, and I didn't really have a great system back then. And my friend that I student taught with, eventually she adapted her classroom library to having a tiny sticker. You can find them at Target or Walmart. They're little rectangles, and you put the number at the top of the book. And so the organizational system makes sense to you as a teacher. Let's say you might have seasons as one of your book tubs, but the kids aren't putting them back in the right place until you put the number on the top. So they match the number on the book to the number on the outside of the book tub. And then I was in kindergarten by itself in a Title I building, and that was paramount to the kids sorting the books. They were so independent at doing it. They had one day a week that they book shopped, and they knew what day that was because on the daily 5 chart, I would put book shop on there for them so they knew what to go do. And we talked about how to pick a just right book and how to put them back. And so if you are an early childhood teacher and you're having a hard time getting your kids to sort the books, you could do the number system like my friend taught me, or my friend Amber, who's in kindergarten, she also likes to do shapes. So she has little shapes on the top of the book and they match it to the outside of the book tub. Then once I moved to upper grades, I liked having the books in alphabetical order by last name. You can find various people that sell this product on TPT. You can make your own, and that's what I did. You put them inside of Google. You can make the labels. You could do it on Microsoft, and you just go A through Z. I found that's the best way to get things alphabetized because then the kids know where to put it back. And then it's easy to access a classroom library book if you're looking for one in particular instead of like going through all the book bins. I always thought that I would have to have a ton of books available to the kids, but what I found was I had too many as it was, and I didn't need to continually buy them. If people wanted to gift them to me, great, but I wasn't going to like keep spending my own money because when we go to the library every week, they're able to pick out a new book, and so that was solved that way. Plus, I was providing the Daily 5 book club books, which they were diving into and having an assignment with and needing to complete, so I didn't want them to feel overwhelmed by all the choices. Sometimes we really do have these overwhelming classroom libraries that kids just can't even decide on a book because there's too many choices. The flow of the classroom really has to make sense for Daily 5. So if you have a word work space, like when I taught kindergarten, first grade, I always had every word work activity properly labeled so they knew what it was and they could go grab it. And it was in one area of the classroom. So the way that the classroom flowed made sense. It was safe. Everything was out of the way if we had to move quickly, and well organized. So I know you might have been in a classroom before where everything is just chaotic and scattered, and that's always been my goal to be the antithesis of that because it makes me feel anxious, and I know it does students as well. So having a word work area is perfect because then kids know where to go or what to grab. And then I also like having a writing center when I taught K and 1 because the kids, some of them wanted to go sit at the table. They like to use the word wall and help find different words that they were looking for, and I always have the writing prompts available too up on the smart board so that they know that they could use that as well for their motivation for work on writing that day. As far as my teacher table goes, I like having a kidney-shaped table, and it's in the back of the room, and kids will bring their book tub over when it's their turn for book club. And sometimes you guys will ask me, well, how do they know? Well, it's up on the smart board, the Daily 5 choice board, and that's available inside of my TPT store. And both of the Daily 5 toolkits, I have one for kindergarten, first, and second grade, and then one for third, fourth, and fifth grade, and you get that chart inside of that big toolkit. So everything I've talked about today that I've made myself, it's inside of those toolkits. So my students will know, okay, it's my time for book club. I'm going to head back to her table, and then they come sit with me. I like having that a clear space, and I also really need to be able to see everybody. I have a rule that you can sit wherever you want on the new choice. So every time we switch choices, you can move spots. However, I must be able to see you. My classroom is very minimal and I don't have a lot of things in the way, so kids can't really hide anywhere. That's just a tip too. I don't like to have anything sectioned off to where they could hide, but that's a rule for me and they know it. So if I see somebody and I kind of go behind a spot where I can't see them anymore, we talk about safety and I ask them to move. So it's never an issue. That's basically it to my classroom. It's very laid back, low key with the systems. I teach the kids how to use everything. We practice it until they've built that stamina, and then I don't have to give constant reminders throughout the school year. We also talk a lot about respecting our materials and what that looks like so that we can have things last the entire year. What questions do you have about setting up Daily 5 in your own classroom? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, if you're looking for the complete answer to setting up Daily 5 on your own, you can grab one of my toolkits linked below. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're having a great start to your school year.